Hello there. It's time for a mosquito turning into killer weapons. It's time for Fluor mouses. It's time to talk about the German Netflix show BIOHACKERS. Last week it was announced that the show already got ordered a second season by Netflix. Yep. So that's good news. Yes. Hopefully it's good news. That will turn out at the end of this review if it's really good news. But we all watched the first season of the series in the last 2 weeks, I believe. And we will review it right now. For the people watching, if you're not subscribed yet and want to stay up to date on all the biohackers news, for example, about that series too, we will cover it here. So then subscribe to the channel and we will keep you up to date. Then we will dive into it right now. For our regular viewers, we can see here to the, what is it? Down here, we can see a new guest in our midst. It's no other than my very own girlfriend, Lina. Live streaming from Sweden, from this little tiny apartment we have here in another room. Welcome, Lina, my lovely girlfriend.
Film studio.
Thank you very much.
Straight from the Stockholm International Movie Friends studio.
Exactly, like huge headquarters, come on.
Live from the IMF studios. It is. Lina.
Cheers.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for the lovely invitation.
Cheers, my love. Happy to have you here because you're not only my partner in crime when it comes to watching series and movies, but you're also a scientist, which comes in handy for this series maybe. So especially in the video we're going to make afterwards, we're going to make a science or fiction video about biohackers. So I'm really curious what you have to say about this topic. But we will review now this series first. We're going to dive into the series season 1 and we will divide it into 2 sections, this review, the pros and the cons, and then our overall review of the series. Let's start with the pros. What did we like about this first season of Biohackers? Koen, I'm going to kick it off with you. What did you like?
What did I like? I liked...
Okay, let's go to Sven.
Yeah.
Sven,
Go to Sven first.
I really liked the tone of voice of the series. It was really fresh. It was really dynamic, active. It was young. It was reminding me really of my own student life with you guys. Okay.
Really?
also biohacking people and.
No, we were just some stupid alpha nerds.
We were also
we didn't know anything. No.
Biohacking our bodies with a lot of beer, more or less.
Yeah. Very cheap beer because it's Sven.
Cheap beer, yeah, exactly. That's what I really liked, and I really liked also. Well, it was a typical Netflix screenplay, I think, with catchy cliffhangers. Made it really suitable for binge watching it because also the episodes were 4 minutes per episode, 6 in one season. So yeah, it was really pleasant to binge watch, and it had all the ingredients to be exciting and interesting, I guess.
Yeah, what I like myself about the setup of the show is that they started out more or less with the future moment. It's a very common storytelling technique, of course, but that you already see at the beginning of the series, this is what's going to happen in the end. Yeah. And then while you're watching, you can start puzzling together, like, okay, how's this going to pan out? And I always like that storytelling technique quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. It's always in the back of your head, and now and then it pops up. You can start puzzling also with other
exactly
like the development of the characters, of course, because who's choosing which side, and it changes also a little bit, and then that makes it really excitement. And of course, they are when you infiltrates in the house of the boss. That was my favorite episode.
Yeah. Okay, but let's hear the others now. Let's hear the others now first. Koen, give you a little bit more time to think. Lina, we watched Biohackers together, of course. What were some positive points for you in this series?
Well, like overall, I liked it a lot. It's quite like intriguing. It's fast-paced. A lot of things are happening, and like you said, they tell already from the start how it ends, more or less. So you're always trying to figure out how do we get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like overall, the acting I think was quite good. And were some better than others, perhaps, but still, I think it's very entertaining, I would say.
Yeah, I thought that the girl, the lead character, Luna Wettler, who played Mia Akerlund, I thought she was really good. I think she was really convincing in her role, and it's yeah, she seems like a talented actress. Was in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree on that too. She was really it was really easy to believe her from the start. She was really
fresh,
real.
really,
Fresh, but also like it really realistic. How she brought it.
Yeah, and that's something I will get into that with my cons. That her realistic tones maybe was a bit out of tone with other things in the series, but I will get into that with the cons. But she was very grounded in her performance. Yeah, I really like that. And it was actually also I found for some of the other like Jasper and the other friend Niklas, they were also quite grounded in their performance. I think so.
You mean with Niklas? You mean you? No.
Yeah, you said that right. It made you think of me.
You look like Buzz or not?
Yeah.
I have to say, when you said to me that he reminded you of me, when I was watching the series, I did think like, because I did acting myself, of course, until I was 24 or more or less. So I did think like, if I was in that age group, that would probably an audition I would be asked for, because always when I come, always when I came to an audition, you always saw in that waiting room, you saw like more or less 20 or 30 people that more or less looked the same type.
Really?
Like,
really like that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really like that. Like all tall guys, brown hair, and like, okay, you can see what they're going for. So I already figured myself, like, probably that would have been one role for me. Yeah.
Hey,
so couldn't you had what?
Jessica Schwartz, the professor.
Yeah.
No,
that was a pro for you.
Wow, yeah, I found it. Maybe a bit overdone, like playing the ice cold lady, but
a bit.
Oh yeah, few too much. Okay, well, kick in then. Koen.
No, we're gonna stick at the pros a bit, because first it's time for Koen to share his pros with us. He had enough time now.
I liked her. I think I understand why Sven likes. I also liked her in the beginning. So for me, like the show was exactly what Sven said. A lot of things, also Lina said, like all of you actually. Like it was very fresh. It was fast paced, but that also is my con later. But it also is a good thing about it. The girl that played Mia played very good. Overall, the acting level was quite good. Like maybe some of them were a little bit, but it was never annoying or something. I only had a little bit of a problem with the very stereotype Asian girl. That was a bit. But
that's a con. You go into the cons now.
Yeah, sorry,
you're breaking the concept.
Oh, sorry. I'm wrong. So no, it was the style I liked, the coloring they used, also what Sven said, that really got you back into your student time.
Yeah, that's. I also found that. I also had that as a pro. Yeah, the coloring that they had.
It was nice.
It was not too dark, but it was also not too bright, and that suited, I think, with the tone they were trying to find with this series, and the coloring, for that matter, worked. I think. Yeah.
No, so and it was also like it also like it doesn't play, of course, in Berlin, but it has a bit of the Berlin style of like going out in very strange, like hipster, remote places that nobody knows. And you go out, and that's a very nice vibe also Berlin had. And
be aware. I think you're now comparing Utrecht with Amsterdam in Germany.
No. But so for me it's fast paced, which is to a certain point was a good thing. Acting was very good. Coloring was nice. The story is very interesting, and all the science part behind it we will go to later with Lina, of course, but which is very interesting because, of course, we as noobs, we have no clue, of course, about these things. We only hear about it on newspapers or whatever, radio, but yeah, no, interesting.
Yeah. For me, it was also like you said, Freiburg. It was a good decor for it. But when I saw it, I thought, like, oh, pretty city. I would like to go there sometime. It looked really nice.
We can go for sure. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I did hear that there were some indoor scenes were shot in Berlin, actually, I think, but the outdoor was at least in Freiburg. What I also liked is that all characters had quite some good motivations behind why they were doing what they were doing. Where, we talked about it in some recent reviews of Netflix movies, where there are a lot of cardboard villains and heroes without really fleshed out motivations, and there's not much to get behind them. And here you got like, okay, I get why they do what they do. Maybe they're a bit on the easy side, but at least it was understandable when you something to get behind.
It makes sense at least, yeah.
Exactly. So for me, it was also very, very enjoyable. Again, Koen, we talked about this before, the series Fringe. It might very well be that the makers of this series looked at Fringe because there's a lot of similarities with two scientists trying to engineer...
That's the one that also had similarities with X-Files, you said, no?
Exactly. Yeah. But here, completely like engineers trying to create a future race, more or less, and then one scientist gets into a crazy house, and the other one keeps going, and then one of the test subjects, when she's older, she goes looking for what's going on. So it's almost like from the same screenplay. So for people that haven't seen that series, Fringe, watch it. Then, Lina, did you have to add one more thing about you liked, or did we cover it now?
It was something I wanted to say, but now I don't remember what it was.
Well, you know what? You can throw it in during our cons. We make a little break in the concept just because you're my girlfriend. So
nice. I like the privileges.
That's how it goes. Unlimited power. But
nice.
All right, we will dive in now. That was our pros, quite some pros already I can hear. Then we will dive in now to the cons of the series. What were the things that we liked a bit less? Koen, I have the feeling since you had to think so hard about the pros, maybe you are better at the con side?
Yeah, well, I will say it's like the thing is, me and Anna watched it together, and we sat actually halfway through, and also at the end. The end changed for me a bit, my opinion, but I will go into it later. The thing is... actually, I felt a bit like it was a missed chance, the first season, because of course they make a second season. I felt like they have this nice pace, they have this fresh vibe somehow. It's in what Sven said. Like Sven is not even a binge watcher, and he binge watches, so it's very good in that sense. It's nice to watch. It's easy, which of course is interesting because normally with science shows or movies, it's not so easy to maybe for people that are not scientists or didn't study anything like that. So in that sense, they maybe get a broader audience interested in this kind of stuff. But in the other sense, it feels a bit like a high school flick show, also combined with they put the science a little bit in it. And that I think that is a bit of the difference. The problem for me was mainly it's so fast paced that a lot of things make no sense. Like I don't think a freshman can get a spot, even if it's like an intern spot at a huge a private corporation or a private entity like that.
No. Well, hold that question.
Yeah, of course, but those kind of things, like, and so gets access to the archive. There's no security system. She can walk into her house. There's no cameras that the woman can check. There's so many small.
There was security. She need to get this special pass, and there were cameras.
Yeah, but she didn't. The boss, the creepy lady, she didn't check her. She didn't check the cameras and now to see who was in her house doing what. It was all. Yeah, well, I think it was a lot of writer issue.
Yeah, okay. She was giving. Of course, I agree on some parts because I think some turning points were really simplistic. I think that's the point you want to make. But I think these points are then. Explainable for the scriptwriter for me, because she was giving a speech and then you're not all the time checking who's in your house, right?
No, that you're not checking at the moment in your house is fine, but that you don't check the day after or whatever, that you don't check what's going on in the cameras. Like there are a lot of moments.
That's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of moments that I think like, okay, if you're such a big Like she was like presented like the biggest rising star in Germany or even in Europe when it comes to this kind
and
of
really control freak type.
Yeah, and then you don't check all of the things. Like it's so easy to, and also the girl Mia, she's going like she came of course to the apartment with secretly hidden in that speaker with the newspapers with the articles from this woman. That was very interesting. It showed her motivation, It gave her
exactly. Yeah,
it was good. But then she goes after her like first day because the thing is, but maybe everybody forgot and people watching. From the moment that she got there till the moment they got in the train and it goes wrong is only 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's impossible to build up that friendship with the people that they will go through you through the ends, like to even become biological terrorists. It's
I have to say I didn't think about that when I was watching it, and that's the famous thing, of course. The famous thing, suspension of disbelief. How much can you put into a series that people will accept it? For me, it was enough that I didn't start thinking about like, this is unrealistic. Like I have sometimes with a action movie, for example, that's like Sylvester Stallone kills 2,000 people on his own. It was when you point it out, I feel like you got a point. But
I fully understand that. That's nice for you watching, but think about it like you have 2 weeks. Everything that happened in season 1 happened in 2 weeks. It's impossible.
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. But I didn't notice it.
You don't get those friends. You don't fall in love twice in 2 weeks. Maybe.
That's also the gratitude of storytelling that you what Bas explains. I had also some moments, for example, they were really like advanced young generation kids, but they're when they take a train, they have to get a paper ticket, and he puts it in the trash bin, and the other one is seeing that, and he knows also the password for all his Google accounts. And I found that also a bit okay.
Like how,
it's sometimes a bit easy writing.
Knows my password, even my girlfriend not. So I mean,
you have a girlfriend, Sven?
Why? I mean,
sorry, I have to skip this. Nice.
My wife knows it. My girlfriend doesn't.
Like a full player,
It's my English vocabulary, guys.
Okay, but I get your point, Koen, and but like I said, while I was watching, I did notice that sometimes it was easy writing, but I was never like, oh come on. I never really felt, but that's of course.
I like it. So that's the thing. Like it's still good then, because even if I never had like, oh my god, this is horrible. No, like this is stupid writing. I never felt like that, but I was like, it's too easy. This is come on, really? Like this is not realistic, but it still made you watch. So that's actually a good thing. It was still enjoyable. So
Lina, some things that you have against the series or that you find less nice. Maybe I have to maybe put it the Swedish way, a bit more moderate. Like really against is too harsh. Maybe.
It's harsh. That's true. Well, like you talked about the time point of the entire happening, more or less.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really think about it like during I was watching it, but at some point I think we were talking about it. It's like, this is only 1 week. That is a bit like it's quite a lot happening in one episode, and I think that's supposed to be like 1 day or something, or 2 days. So it is happening quite fast. We will talk about science later, of course. But like one thing that really got to me was like, how can this like very famous scientist have a lab in her basement that nobody knows about, and she can do research on like serious pathogens and viruses, and there's no check on that. Yeah, we'll talk about it later, but
that's crime, right? I think with crime you can fund a lot, or not?
True, I guess. Yeah, of course, illegal stuff, you always find a way, I guess.
Yeah.
In the dark.
But that's maybe also right away one of the points I had with the Lawrence character is that she maybe, especially in the beginning, I found that she was too much portrayed as a real science, typical science villain, a bit over the top. Well, we talked about it before with Old Guard, but also Batman versus Superman, like this over the top science person. And I found that, especially in this series, a bit out of tone with for example, the Mia girl and the Niklas and the
It
other.
would have been better if they had if this woman was more empathetic and warmer, and they almost became friends. That would have been
at least a bit more grounded in her character. It was a bit over the top, and that was my biggest con with this series, was that I found the tone by times a bit inconsistent, and it was mostly because of her, but also the three house roommates of Mia. And you can blame the actors for that, because this is a deliberate choice by the directors. You can see that because they want to bring in a bit of a lighter tone to the series, almost like you said, I think, Koen or Sven, like almost like a high school feel, teenage. But by that,
you have the rich girl that only drinks and does other things. Then you have the typical Asian that knows everything.
It didn't fit together. It's a choice that you make, but it didn't fit with the other side of the story that was much more grounded and took its own matters serious. And by that, for me, it almost felt like that the makers were afraid of really taking what they were talking about, taking it really seriously. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I remember a review of myself of the first season of Dark, where it was all serious and all really dark, and there I missed some air.
You couldn't sleep for 3 months.
Literally light, a joke. And if you put them in balance, maybe it was also not the right mix, but I preferred this a bit for to
dance.
Yeah, also when you're tired, you can still watch this.
But that's for sure. One last thing I had on the story is that it might be the first season, the storyline might have been a bit thin, because I felt episode 2 and 3 there was not that much happening, while it is a season with just 6 episodes. So then you would think like, okay, maybe the episode should be quite dense, I think. And now episode 2 and 3 were for me a bit like, okay. There's only 1, 4, and 5, 6 that it really happened a lot.
I'm just curious where the hell they're going to go, to be honest, because actually the story could be like 3 seasons easily.
Yeah.
That's why for me it was just like they put it all in there, and then they also made it unbalanced, like you said. And because of the fast pace, it was like easier to watch. But it became also a bit of like some kind of romantic flick or whatever, so it's...
Yeah, they have to. I think this series has a lot of. Maybe we should just get into our overall feelings now and go to our rating of this series. Well, Koen, you were already started, so let's start it with you. Your overall rating and feeling about the series.
I think I would still give it 3 stars from 5.
Yeah.
And I lean more to 2.5, but let's be 3. Okay. And the main reason is it has so much potential because I like the style, but I just think it was lazy story, like script writing in a lot of parts, because I have like a lot of examples for this stuff. It's like a lot of things, they don't make sense, they cannot happen, or I'm almost sure they cannot happen. And there are a lot of moments also, like for instance, they were like arrested as bioterrorists, and then like a day later they're like out and they're free and everything is okay. That will never happen. They will stay in lockdown for 4 weeks or something to be interrogated, like in European countries. Yeah. A lot of things. So for me, like it has a lot of potential. The twist at the end I liked, and I hope to get to a 4 stars in next season. Let's say like that.
Yeah. Right. Lina?
I think I will give it a 3 as
3
well.
3 stars. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's like it's quite light. It's quite fun. A lot of things happening. But I think, you have a point. Like there's a lot you can do with it. It's a very interesting story. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Sven, your overall rating. I got 2 3 stars.
Sven gives it 5.
No, I would go. I'm in a good day today. I will give 3.5 stars for this show,
nice.
And most contribution goes to the main character, Luna Wedler, born in Zurich, Switzerland. Cheers, Swiss beer.
That's why.
Luna Wedler.
Swiss connection.
Yes. No, I found it not the ideal, but the good mix of excitement, a bit of conspiracy, enjoyable dynamics between the characters and the whole setting where it's being shot, and a good Netflix cocktail with true cliffhangers. And I really look forward to how it's going to end, because the end I didn't expect.
Yeah. So we will probably dive into that when season 2 is coming. Maybe we'll do a little pre-show where we dive into the story, make some theories about how it's going to go next. To end it with myself, I will give this series, just like you, Sven, so we're evened out here, also 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed watching this series. It's like you said, Sven, it's not as deep as a series and not as dense as a series as Dark, or the series we're recently watching, Lovecraft Country, where you all the time have to be puzzling what's happening.
Exactly.
And your head is just exploding, but it was just enough to keep watching. I didn't sit on the edge of my seat, so to say, but it was nice. They kept you putting puzzle pieces together in the end. So I really enjoyed it, and like you said, a big plus for me was Luna Wedler, who was very good and promising talent. I think. Cheers to her. And so I will definitely Skål. I will definitely tune in for season 2. And but I do hope that they will balance out a bit more the bit less goofy moments and find a bit better tone for the roommates. And they start taking their own show a bit more serious than they seem to do now. But overall, I enjoyed it. So that was our review for Biohackers. We're gonna dive in now in a new video right away to a video, Biohackers Science or Fiction. So it's all the science we see in Biohackers. Is it possible? Is it likely? We're going to dive into that with our very own scientist in our midst. Then now we're going to say goodbye to you. We're going to keep you updated on this channel also about Biohackers Season 2. So if there's news about Season 2, release date and those kind of things, we will keep you updated. So if you like to stay updated, subscribe to our channel. Then I will say goodbye now.
Cheers.
Hasta la vista.